Let's check out the book value of a couple of aggressive growth stocks with our aggressive growth stock strategist, Brian Bolan. So this week you're focusing in on stocks book value, usually a more conservative measure of value. It's not really talked about much when you're looking at growth stocks, though.
Right. When we talk about book value, you're basically saying if the company stopped and just absolutely halted today and we sold everything off for parts and scrap, what do we get? What is the end value right now? And, value investors kind of look at this a little bit more than aggressive growth investors will look at this, because the value investor is saying, what can I get? Worst case scenario. Aggressive growth is always kind of looking forward into the future, saying, what am I going to get in the future, the next few years, if the business continues to grow?
Right.
So as we look at a couple of these companies, the first one is Scott's Miracle Grow.
Yeah, I know that. For my garden.
Right. So you use the products here and there, the turf builder maybe?
No, just for the garden.
Just for the garden. Okay. So the brand's been around for quite a while.
Long time, yeah.
Long time. So 1868, Marysville, Ohio. So just west of Columbus, Ohio, middle of the country. Marysville, you might know, is one of the spots where Honda first built a plant in the United States to build cars, here to get around the export-import laws.
No, I didn't, but that's okay.
Well, you never know. Trivia is lost on some people, but other people love it.
Yeah, well, I've got enough mindless stuff in my mind locked in as it is, but that's okay. So you got a chart here that shows revenue over the last few years?
Right. If we take a look at revenue, we can see that the idea here is it's a very seasonal business. Obviously there's going to be 2 strong quarters, there's going to be 2 weak quarters. But if we look very recently here, that the weak quarters haven't been as weak as they've been lately. So that's a sign that there is a little bit of strength. And as that translates into the idea of book value, when we take a look at that chart, is that, there's been an up and down obviously here. But obviously, if we have revenue growth, or at least the revenue bottom end of the weak part of the season, tapering off a little bit higher than normal, it's got a good chance that the book value will continue to grow. And we've seen it over the last several years here as it has moved up.
Okay. Next company, Big 5 Sporting Goods.
Right. Big 5 Sporting Goods is obviously a sporting goods retailer.
Right. I put that together, yes.
I tell you, between the gardening and knowing that sporting goods is going to be a retailer.
Not much that gets lost on me, let me tell you.
Nothing.
Right.
Well, but I bet you haven't seen too many of these stores.
No, I have not.
And the reason it's a West Coast operator.
I see.
So in that idea of being a West Coast operator, I think you're going to see a fourth quarter that could be a little bit stronger, because most of the retailers on the East Coast had Superstorm Sandy, right? So that's going to fuzz the numbers and kind of paint the discussion of all the retailers on the Eastern Seaboard, because this is a West Coast company. You're not really going to see that. You've had analysts' estimates tick up a little bit. It is a Zacks ranked number 1. But in our discussion here today, let's take a look at the book value. And we can see that chart, just your 45-degree angle straight up to the right. Why is that? It's because there's consistent growth here. As the stock over the last 5 years has been up 14%, but the book value has increased a little bit more than that on a percentage basis. And that tells us that the business that they're in, it keeps on doing better and better. Therefore, that if we take a look at, just the assets they hold, the number of stores has increased, that sort of thing. Tech companies would say you would look at these things and you would look at intangible book value versus tangible book value. Something like Big 5 Sporting Goods is going to be all tangible book value. There isn't going to be too many patents or things like that on there.
Okay.
So, as we look at that book value, it continues to increase. Aggressive growth investors aren't going to look at this, but it's something good to know in the back of your head, what is going on with the company as a whole. We look at Big 5, it's obviously a number 1, Zacks ranked number 1 stock. Earnings estimates have moved higher, and we're looking for a good fourth quarter out of them.
Okay, do you own either one?
I do not.
All right, we have other stock picks and stock picking strategies on our website, zacks.com. If you're not there already, get on over, check them out. You can link to them right off the homepage. With Brian, I'm Terry Ruffalo.